So James Clarence Mangan would have been a very familiar figure in these streets in the first part of the 19th century, and he would have been very easy to spot because he was a very eccentric character. He wore a top pointed hat like a witch's hat, wore a big old green cape and big voluminous umbrellas that he carried around with him no matter what the weather was like. So he was quite distinctive in his attire, very eccentric, quite barmy, actually, I think it's safe to say. And later on he became even more so as he became addicted to laudanum and alcohol and possibly anything else he could get his hands on. However, he did do some pretty extraordinary things as far as writing poetry was concerned. He wrote poetry that impressed James Joyce, impressed W.B. Yeats, and I suppose if you have people like that name checking you, then you must be doing something right. There's a poem of his that I love called And Then No More, and I'll just give you 2 verses of it. And it's a love poem and it's very sad, and I think explains he was very unlucky in love, and it probably contributed to his decline and his addictions. So And Then No More. I saw her once one little while, and then no more. 'Twas Eden's light on earth a while, and then no more. Amidst the throng she passed along the meadow floor. Spring seemed to smile on earth a while, and then no more. But whence she came, which way she went, what garb she wore, I noted not. I gazed a while, and then no more. I saw her once one little while, and then no more. The earth was Periland a while, and then no more. Oh, might I see but once again, as once before, through chance or wile, that shape a while, and then no more. Death soon would heal this heart of mine, now sad and sore, would beat anew a little while, and then no more. The Clarence, incidentally, in James Clarence Mangan's name, he was originally James Mangan after his father, but so it's not quite clear where the Clarence came from. It is speculated that he took it from Clarence in Richard III. He was apparently able to quote Shakespeare. Even when he was quite far on in drink, he was able to quote Shakespeare very well. But can't we all? So that's possibly where the Clarence came from. So he was a pretty, as I say, wild hair, unkempt, undernourished. He had some strange ideas about eating. He used to not eat for a few days at a time, smoke all the time. He wasn't dieting as such. He just thought he could sort of wean himself off food. And he fell victim to the cholera epidemic in the 1840s in Dublin, which was very widespread at the time. And he was weakened by malnutrition and by his drug addiction and alcohol addiction, so he finally succumbed, but not before he had some pretty spectacular visions of phantasms and ghosts. He was what he called himself a necromancer, so he used to commune with the spirits who had left this life on a nightly basis, had long conversations with them, and he wrote quite a lot of poetry about those conversations and what was happening on the far side, long before the far side was identified as a suitable subject for literature. So and right up to the very end of his life he was still writing in the Meath Hospital. He was given pieces of paper to write on by the doctor who was tending him, who happened to know a little bit about his literary career. However, on the morning that Mangan died, the doctor came in to officially pronounce him dead. There was no sign of any of the paper, and he asked the orderly where was the paper that the patient had been writing on, and the orderly said, well, I got into trouble before for leaving the rooms in a mess, so I burned them. So we'll never know what his last words were. Possibly they didn't add up to a lot, but nevertheless it would have been nice to have the historical document. So that's James Clarence Mangan, Dublin eccentric writer, scrivener, poet, necromancer, all-round oddball. Okay, so this is just a short piece from Mangan's probably best-known poem, My Dark Rosaleen. So it's just 2 little excerpts, which was a nationalistic poem, and My Dark Rosaleen was really representing Ireland. At home in your emerald bowers, from morning's light to lean, you'll think of me, my flower of flowers, my dark Rosaleen, my own Rosaleen. You'll pray for me through daylight's hours, my virgin flower, my flower of flowers, my dark Rosaleen. Over hills, through dales have I roamed for your sake, All yesterday I sailed with sails over river and lake. The Erne at its highest flood I dashed across unseen, for there was lightning in my blood, my dark Rosaline. Red lightning lighted through my blood, my dark Rosaline.